On January 26, 2024, the night in Los Angeles was no different from any other. The Crypto.com arena in downtown LA was ablaze with lights, as thousands of fans poured in to watch a seemingly unremarkable NBA regular season game between the home team, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the visiting Toronto Raptors. It was a matchup of uneven strengths. The Clippers were a powerhouse, gunning for a championship, while the Raptors were in a rebuilding phase, struggling with a lackluster record and a roster filled with young players and role players. On such an ordinary game night, the spotlight naturally belonged to superstars like Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. No one paid much attention to a fringe backup center on the Raptors named Jontay Porter. His name was unfamiliar even to many die-hard fans, who were far more likely to know his older brother, Denver Nuggets star forward Michael Porter Jr. Jontay's career, however, had been far rockier, with injuries nearly derailing the promise he once showed. That season, he averaged less than 14 minutes per game, with stats so unremarkable that making it onto the NBA's sprawling player stat sheets was already a minor feat. But it was precisely this obscurity, this statistical insignificance, that made him a central figure in a different kind of market, one where he could be precisely targeted and manipulated as a betting prop. In the world of sports betting, beyond wagering on a team's win or loss, there's a more intricate, intriguing form of gambling known as player prop bets. You can bet on how many points a star might score, how many strikeouts a pitcher might throw, or, in this case, how many rebounds a backup center like Jontay Porter might grab in a game. That night, major betting platforms set Porter's rebound prop line at 4.5. This meant that if you bet the under, wagering that he'd finish the game with fewer than 4.5 rebounds, you'd win if he grabbed 4 or fewer. In other words, the worse he performed, the better the odds for those betting against him. For any NBA center over 7 feet tall, even one playing limited minutes, grabbing 4 rebounds should be a walk in the park, almost effortless. Rebounds often come down to instinct, positioning, and hustle. So when the betting line was set, most rational analyses would predict Porter would easily clear 4.5 rebounds. Yet, astonishingly, that night saw a mysterious flood of money, precise and relentless, pouring into the under 4.5 rebounds option. It was as if a group of prophetic bettors collectively doubted Porter's performance. As the game began, the first quarter seemed to mock these so-called prophets. Porter, coming off the bench midway through the quarter, looked lively. In just a few minutes, he used aggressive positioning and hustle to snag 2 rebounds. On the court, every leap, every physical battle, sent shivers down the spines of those who'd bet on his failure. At that pace, forget 4 rebounds, he might hit that mark by halftime. The bets against him seemed doomed to crash and burn. But then, strange details began to emerge. In the final seconds of the first quarter, after a missed shot by the Clippers, the ball bounced directly to Porter in a perfect, uncontested spot, with no opposing player within yards. By pure instinct, he reached for the easy rebound. But at the very moment his fingertips touched the ball, his movement turned unnaturally awkward, as if he'd grazed a scalding hot pan or been zapped by electricity. Instead of securing the ball, he bizarrely let it slip, lightly flicking it away to a teammate. The NBA's high-definition broadcast cameras captured this highly unusual action from multiple angles. The commentators even paused, seemingly baffled by why a professional center would fumble such a simple rebound so clumsily. Fans might have brushed it off as a harmless mistake, chuckling it away. But for those holding under 4.5 rebounds bets, this moment was nothing short of divine intervention. Even stranger things followed. After the first quarter, as players returned to the bench, Porter didn't engage in the usual tactical discussions with coaches and teammates. Instead, he went straight to the team's medical staff, claiming discomfort in his eye, possibly a flare-up of an old injury. What a perfectly convenient, nearly unquestionable excuse. The eye, the body's most delicate and precise organ, could understandably affect a player's performance in intense competition. Out of caution and concern for player safety, the Raptors' coaching staff naturally didn't force him back onto the court. So, for the second, third, and fourth quarters, Porter never returned. His presence vanished from the rotation. When the final buzzer sounded, the Clippers had predictably crushed the Raptors. In the box score, Jontay Porter's stat line was frozen. 7 minutes played, 0 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Oh wait, post-game official stats corrected that to just 2 rebounds. 2 rebounds, well below the 4.5 line. Those mysterious bettors who'd poured huge sums into predicting he wouldn't exceed 4 rebounds hit the jackpot overnight. Like every other game day, DraftKings, one of the world's largest sportsbooks, released its list of the previous night's biggest winners. A seemingly minor note revealed that in the Raptors-Clippers game, bets on Jontay Porter's rebound prop generated the highest profits in the player prop category that evening. Guess who the winners were? Yep, those mysterious prophets, who bet Porter wouldn't reach 4 rebounds. At the time, the incident didn't make much noise. After all, Porter was a nobody, a minor blip in a regular season game, quickly buried under the NBA's daily avalanche of news and highlights. But justice may be delayed, and data doesn't lie, especially when irregular patterns repeat. Just 2 months later, on March 20th, the Raptors faced the Sacramento Kings on the road. Porter remained the same obscure backup center, and sportsbooks again set prop lines for his stats, including a 3-point shooting line at 0.5, betting on whether he'd make at least 1 3-pointer. The same script played out. Before the game, a massive influx of money unusually flooded bets that he'd fail to hit a single 3. During the game, Porter got more playing time than usual but performed like an amateur. He airballed multiple 3-point attempts, and in one uncontested fast break, he drove to the basket only to throw up an absurdly clumsy shot that clanged off the bottom of the rim. His overall performance was a disaster. Near zero contributions in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. Coincidentally, another group of prophets seemed to have the script in hand, combining bets on Porter's under 4 points, rebounds, and 3-pointers in a high-risk, high-reward parlay. Their $80,000 wager turned into over $1 million in winnings overnight. A fairy tale of instant wealth, centered on this unremarkable bench player. But pies don't fall from the sky, and when things seem too perfect, something's usually off. Such precise predictions, massive bets, and bizarre on-court behavior strung together finally raised red flags for the sportsbooks. Legitimate betting companies fear not losing money to bettors but losing it to unfair means, which undermines the fairness that their business depends on. Their internal data monitoring and risk management teams, using sophisticated algorithms, track global betting patterns. When they noticed strikingly similar anomalies in these 2 games involving Porter, large bets placed on his under props by specific accounts just before tip-off, they promptly reported the findings to the NBA and law enforcement. A storm that would shake North American sports was quietly brewing. It wasn't long before the public, reviewing game footage and scrutinizing Porter's every odd move, had a collective epiphany. His seemingly clumsy mistakes, his perfectly timed injury flare-up, might have been a carefully staged performance. The realization hit hard. This wasn't an isolated incident but the starting point of the biggest insider game-fixing scandal in NBA history since referee Tim Donaghy's betting controversy. It wasn't just one player's fall. It was a mirror reflecting the growing chaos and madness unleashed by the legalization of sports betting in the U.S. This story marks the first publicly confirmed case of an active professional athlete manipulating their own performance to facilitate betting since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, PASPA, in 2018, opening the door to legalize sports betting across states. We'll get to the outcome later, but its occurrence signaled the opening of a Pandora's box. Currently, 38 states and Washington, D.C. have legalized sports betting in some form. From New York on the East Coast to California on the West, though California hasn't fully embraced online betting. Sports betting ads and apps are as ubiquitous as air, fundamentally changing how Americans watch sports and reshaping societal views on gambling. For a long time, gambling carried a deeply negative connotation in American culture, much like in China. Whether rooted in Puritan moral traditions or everyday family values, the word evoked images of financial ruin, broken families, and moral decay. Growing up, I remember Saturday morning cartoons interrupted by public service announcements. One ad, dark and somber, showed a distraught mother saying, "We lost our house, our kids' college fund, our retirement savings, everything, because our son was gambling online." The camera then panned to a dejected boy as his father, with a mix of disappointment and anger, said, "Go to your box." In American households, go to your room is a common punishment. But in this ad, the boy had no home, just a tattered cardboard box in an alley. That line, "Go to your box," paired with the boy's defeated silhouette, left a lasting impression on me as a kid. equating gambling with homelessness and despair. Yet, in today's post-legalization world, when I turn on the TV or open my phone, gambling ads have undergone a dramatic makeover. They're now sunny, upbeat, even empowering. You see friends in a luxurious living room, betting on games via their phones, high-fiving with every winning wager, as if gambling isn't about money but about bonding. The voiceovers boom with enthusiasm. You work hard, grind it out, and forget how to take a vacation. But wait, my $200 is back. It's like buying a lottery ticket and not only breaking even but doubling your joy. The endorsers are stylish, smiling, clearly successful people living their best lives. The message is subtle but clear. Gambling doesn't have to ruin you. That idea's outdated. It's a trendy, thrilling form of entertainment. The ads are fast-paced, with quick cuts, ending with an ordinary person jumping for joy over a small win. The voiceover chirping, "That was fast." But is that the reality? According to the American Gaming Association, Americans lost a staggering $246 billion on legal sports betting in 2023. That's over $1,000 per adult, whether you bet or not. A stark contrast to the gleeful scenes in those ads. Suddenly, those enticing commercials start to feel like a carefully laid trap, like a sweet-talking con artist sparing no charm to lure you in. To make this con even more convincing, betting companies spare no expense, enlisting some of America's most trusted and influential figures. Take Kevin Hart, the highest-paid comedian in the U.S. in 2024, known for his family-friendly humor. His jokes are wholesome, rarely touching on politics or anything too risque, resonating with everyone from grandparents to kids. He's the perfect spokesperson for sportsbooks aiming to rebrand gambling as harmless fun. Picture this all-too-real scenario. A young guy, phone in hand, excitedly tells his grandpa, who once lost everything to gambling, "Hey, Grandpa, look, it's our favorite comedian, Kevin Hart. He says gambling's totally fine now." Grandpa adjusts his glasses, sees Hart's beaming face on TV, and mutters, "Well, damn. I lost everything to this stuff 20 years ago. But if Kevin Hart says it's okay, maybe we give it a shot?" Nearby, the grandson, who once lived in a cardboard box, chimes in, "Grandpa, you mean that time I lived in a box? I kinda remember. I made friends with some rats." "Yeah, kid, but those were good rats. They took care of you, didn't they? Taught you manners. Until we got too hungry and had to eat them." "Oh yeah, I remember eating them. They tasted pretty good, actually." "And why's that?" "Because we used Logan's Mark sauce. I don't know if you've tried it, but it makes even rats taste like gourmet food." This is a satirical joke, but the logic is real. Using a trusted public figure to sanitize an activity traditionally seen as harmful to families. Don't watch stand-up? No problem. They've got hip-hop star Post Malone or basketball legend LeBron James, whose influence among younger audiences is unmatched. When your idols say it's cool and exciting, it's hard not to be swayed. Okay, maybe you don't watch comedy, listen to hip-hop, or follow sports. You're just a regular person chilling at home. But as long as you have a smartphone and Wi-Fi, you don't need sports knowledge to join this apparent betting party. Sportsbook apps are designed to be user-friendly, with vibrant interfaces and seamless navigation. Open one, and you're bombarded with enticing promotions. One famous tagline, "You know what to do." It's a psychological nudge implying you're already in the game, that betting is second nature. Even if you're like my dad, a classic fake fan who barely knows the teams or players but thinks he's a genius, always losing money. These apps won't let you walk away easily. They'll shower you with bet one, get one deals. Bet $10, lose, and they'll credit you $10 in free bets. They'll even toss in free chips when your balance hits zero, just to keep you at the table. Their logic is simple. They don't mind you winning. They just don't want you to stop playing. Push notifications hit your phone like an overly eager friend. "Hey, buddy, long time no see. The NBA Finals are on. This is your chance to turn things around. Even if you lose, we'll give you $5 back. Come on, come on, come on." The language is always seductive, provocative. Time to spice up your boring life with some betting, huh? But is this game truly fair? If you get lucky or even master some strategies, winning a hefty sum from these companies, will they pay up willingly? Reality suggests otherwise. Take a recent case in Chicago. Steve, a regular sports fan, not a professional gambler, placed a series of parlay bets on BetMGM, a major betting app. With sharp predictions and a bit of luck, he turned a few $100s into a $400,000 windfall, a life-changing sum that could cover his daughter's college tuition for 4 years. Thrilled, he opened the app the next day to withdraw his winnings, only to find something off. All his winning bets were grayed out, locked in an inoperable state. "I looked at my BetMGM app," he told a local TV station, "and I noticed it looked weird, like all my bets were covered in gray. What happened?" After long waits and frustrating customer service calls, he got a gut punch response. All his bets had been unilaterally canceled by the system minutes before the game started, due to an obvious error in the odds. Just like that, his $400,000 vanished, as if he'd never placed the bets. This wasn't even the first time. 2 years earlier, another bettor won $210,000, only to have it voided for the same vague, obvious error excuse. When regulators investigated, the sportsbook's response was brazen. "It was our mistake, so we can do whatever we want." Here's the twisted logic of these companies. They use every trick, promotions, psychological nudges, to keep losing bettors like my perpetually losing dad or that kid's dad from the cardboard box, hooked, fueling their profits. Meanwhile, they exploit loopholes in their own rules to limit or outright cancel the winnings of skilled or lucky bettors. Hey, that's kind of fucked up. Now, I've always been a staunch defender of personal freedom. If an adult's actions don't directly harm others, they should be free to live as they choose. If you want to spend your hard-earned money chasing the thrill of gambling, that's your right. The government shouldn't play nanny, meddling in personal financial decisions. But whether you support legalized sports betting or not, the current onslaught of pervasive ads and manipulative marketing is clearly problematic. Come on, they've made gambling feel like a harmless, fun little game you can play on your phone. Win some cash. Woohoo, so exciting. They selectively highlight the fleeting joy and false prosperity, systematically dodging the far more likely outcomes. Financial ruin, broken families, addiction, or even like that old PSA, homelessness. Go to your box. Yeah, go back to your box. Pretty good callback, right? This show only the good, hide the bad tactic isn't new in advertising, but when applied to a highly addictive, potentially destructive product, its societal harm demands serious attention. Compare this to Taiwan, where alcohol ads face strict regulations. Taiwan beer commercials are sunny and cheerful, but they prominently display warnings like, "Drink responsibly," "Don't drink and drive." The law mandates these warnings take up at least 1/10 of the ad space. The font might be clunky, but it's crystal clear. Now look at US betting ads. At the end, a tiny line of text flashes by at lightning speed. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. It's so small and brief you'd need a magnifying glass and slow-motion replay to catch it. In this wildly uneven information landscape, bettors may think they're exercising free will, but from another angle, sportsbooks are using big data, personalized nudges, and information overload to orchestrate a massive, calculated psychological manipulation. This downplay the risks, hype the rewards playbook isn't new for American capitalists. It's eerily reminiscent of the tobacco industry's golden age in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. Back then, cigarette ads were everywhere: newspapers, magazines, radio, TV, even hospitals, universities, and kids' shows. Doctors in white coats authoritatively claimed certain brands were better for your throat. Santa Claus puffed on a pipe, warmly recommending cigarettes as the perfect Christmas gift.